Hey everybody, my name is Kasoras. I am an Overwatch League coach, and today I'd like to give you 3 ways to prevent wrist injuries. Now, I've got a lot of questions about this in my DMs from people that have wrist injuries, but I always say preventing is better than having to recover. So today I'll give you 3 ways to really prevent these wrist injuries, and then maybe in a follow-up video, if people like this video, we'll go over how to recover from wrist injuries more. But let's get right into this. The first way, I think it's really important to prevent wrist injuries, is to practice proper ergonomics. And this means your posture, right? And this is extremely important, not only for your wrist, but also for your lower back, your overall body. And in 20 years, if you had a terrible posture every time you were gaming, you are going to feel that not just in your wrist, but also in your lower back, right? So the first thing is you want your screen to be at the height of your eyes, right? You want your forehead to be perpendicular with the top of your screen. And I'll have a picture over here somewhere where it shows what really good ergonomics is. So I'll just go over it. You can look at the picture. Very good. Second, you want your elbows to be perpendicular to your wrist, right? So you see in the picture again that the elbows are perpendicular to your wrist. Then third, you want your wrist straight while you're aiming. Now this is really important, right? You see a lot of people do this where they're flicking their wrist while they're aiming with the mouse, and that's okay. But if you're habitually sitting like this or like that, that is not great. So you really want to keep your wrist straight while you're aiming. And if you have a hard time doing this, you can buy a wrist brace that is clinically proven to keep your wrist straight, and that does help to get you into that habit. And then fourth, you really want a chair that supports your lower back, right? You want your lower back in the back of your chair, just like you can see in the picture. And you want to make sure that your back is supported. You want to sit up straight. You can bend forward a little bit if you feel like that, but it's best to have your back in the chair, right? If you have a gamer chair like me, or if you have a good ergonomic chair, those are the best ones. And then last of all, you want to have your feet on the ground. And then equipment wise, make sure you have a good chair, right? Lumbar support is really important. And then second, make sure you have a light mouse. And this is because you don't want to tense your wrist while you're aiming, right? You never want to tense your wrist while you're aiming. If you habitually tense your wrist while you're aiming, that is a way to get wrist injuries very fast. And having a light mouse will help with this, right? So I've got a Logitech G Pro Wireless. You can use any mouse. This one is particularly light, so I think that a light mouse really helps. And then you want to have a keyboard that is easy buttons to press for the equipment side. Then the second way to prevent wrist injuries, and you're going to hear this a lot, is doing wrist stretches. And I've got a video on this, so I'll link that in the description below. And also Dr. Levi has got really good videos on wrist stretches for gamers, so I'll link those as well below. But yeah, 100% do wrist stretches. I know this is said a lot, but I also know that a lot of gamers, they hear this a lot and they're like, yeah, I'll do it, and then they don't do it. But it really only takes a few minutes, and especially I'm an Overwatch coach. In Overwatch, you have long queue times, so you can do those in your queues, unless you're a tank, of course, but then you'll just have to take breaks and find time for it. But yeah, make sure you take those few minutes and do those wrist stretches that I have linked in the description below again. And so for the third part of this video, we're going to be looking at some wrist exercises that we can be doing. I have two weights of about 4 kilos here. I recommend going maybe a little bit lower if you've never done these exercises before. But I like doing these wrist exercises, and these are different than wrist stretches, right? These are very focused on long term and strengthening your wrists instead of short term, multiple times a day making yourself ready for gaming, right? Which is what wrist stretches is. Now, these are really focused on the long term and strengthening your wrist, like I said. So here we have these two weights. I'm going to be showing you 3 different exercises I really like doing. So the first one, we're going to be rolling the weights down our hands. And we're going to be pulling them back up. And then we're going to be rolling down again. Now I'm not going to do these 10 times for about 2 or 3 sets, which is what I normally do. I'm just going to be showing them twice. So this is the second exercise that I really like doing. We're going to be perpendicular. We're going to go up and down. And then the third exercise I really like doing is this one. So that is the third way that I like to prevent wrist injury. And now this is something that's not that talked about. And the earlier two, the posture and the wrist stretches, are obviously more important. But I definitely also put this one in my weekly routine. So those are my 3 ways to prevent wrist injuries. And the tip I want to give you, and what I see a lot, is that when people have wrist pain, they tend to ignore it. They tend to write it off, right? It's no big deal. But trust me, it is a big deal. It ruins pro players' careers, right? So take it seriously. Ask questions. See a doctor if it hurts a lot. And do your research and do the things I said in this video. That will help a lot. Now again, if you do like this video, please leave a like or a comment. Let me know if you want to see a posture video, right? A more in-depth posture video, because I gave some tips, but it's not complete yet. Or a actual wrist pain video if you actually have wrist pain already. But I want to thank you all for watching this video, and I will see you all later.